Vince Gutierrez here, physical therapist. You can find me at movementthinker.org. This video is going to be a progression of the hip hinge. If you haven't seen the hip hinge video, I'll include it in the notes below. You might want to start there if you have trouble getting up and down from chairs. This is a squat. Ooh, I hear it all the time, right? I can't squat. Squats make my knees hurt. I have trouble getting up and down from a chair. I need help to get up. You know, I'll be making videos later about just taking pictures of chairs and seeing how many people get just intimidated by the chair without arms. So I have trouble understanding that concept. But like I said, we're going to progress to getting up and down from chairs to squats to toilets. So we're starting with the hip hinge. I covered this before, but just a quick review. You stand away from the wall. I like to go 1 foot length away. Slide your pelvis back. You can use your hands for counterbalance. You can keep your hands here. I don't care. Come back up. Butt back, back up. And so one of the cues that are given during a powerlifting style squat, and there's a few different versions of a squat, and I'm going to cover those towards the end of the video. A powerlifting style squat is drive your butt through the wall behind you. Okay. What that does is it makes your shins vertical and it forces your weight to shift back onto your heels off of your toes. Once you've mastered the hip hinge, you can come over to a chair. Okay. This chair is set up at 22 inches. Standard chair height is about 18. If you're unable to get up from 18 inches, go throw some pillows on there. If you don't have any, go to one of the local stores and buy just like this soft foam pad. Don't buy egg crate, it smushes too much. Something that doesn't smush much, okay? Smush, technical term. Next, you'll stand in front of the chair. Same concept, drive your butt back. And you see I'm almost touching the pad already, right? And so I took my hip hinge, and now I just added a little bit of knee bending. My shoulders are over the middle of my foot to my heel. So my balance is, I can come straight up, right? I'm not trying to get up from my feet behind my heels, because if I do that, I go backwards, right? Knock the chair over because I'm a lot bigger than the chair, okay? If my nose, this is a good example, right? This is a pattern that we tend to see with people who are a little weaker, trying to get out of a chair. I call it the rock and roll rise, right? And so it's rock, 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 and take a couple steps to try to catch your balance, right? Because you're essentially throwing yourself out of a chair because you don't have the adequate strength to control your body weight to stand up, and so you're using momentum. That's one of the major patterns. The other pattern that we tend to see with getting up out of a chair is, and up we go, right? I call that the hockey goalie stance, all right? So we want to try to minimize hockey goalie and rock and roll. It's all about control. And so you put the height at whatever is adequate for you. If the hip hinge is adequate for you, then that's as high as you need to go to start off with. Once you can do this, and you'll see in a previous video let me get back to my good position. In a previous video, you have sets and reps, and I talk about going up to 25 reps. I keep that fairly standard because it's not bad advice, right? And so work your way up to 25 reps, up and down. When you can do 25, and it's fairly easy, you have 2 in the tank, meaning you would have an extra 2 reps left in you. If you stopped at that point, remove a pillow. As you can see, this is very hard to make harder. I'm kidding, right? This is a universal exercise. We have to do it on a daily basis. Anytime you get up from a toilet, which I'm going to cover that in a second, anytime that you have to get up from a toilet, we have to do some version of this, right? We'd already covered that you need rotation to be able to wipe your butt, okay? You need leg strength to get up from a toilet. By the end of today's video, you should be able to use the bathroom. Okay, moving on. You're going to hip hinge, and you'll lower down. Now you'll see I have more knee bending in this position than I did if you just go back 15 to 20 seconds. You'll see I have more knee bending now than I did in the previous 22 inches. This is 20 inches. If you're weak and you have trouble doing this, you can put a chair in front of you. You can have somebody sit in the chair. It'll give you something to pull from, okay? If you don't have anybody sitting in the chair, you'll be able to counterbalance yourself here, but you won't necessarily be able to pull it because it's going to pull right into you. So a chair in front of you is a good way for you to scale down this exercise to make it a little easier. Same concept. Remove a pillow, stand in front of the chair, drive your butt through the wall, lower yourself down, and now you'll see I have even more knee bending in this position than I did 20 seconds ago and 40 seconds ago. But my weight is still balanced over my heels, over the middle of my foot, so I can go straight up. I don't have to rock forward and rock backwards. Now, that's a powerlifting version of the squat where we describe the butt through the wall. Okay. Next, we're going to go to toilet height, and that's 16, 17 inches. One more time. Butt through the wall. Lower yourself down, and you'll see I have even more knee bending in this position than I did in the previous position. Quick side note. I always tell this story to PT students when they come in, and it's fun to tell. Okay. I don't recommend doing these in dress pants. All right. As a student, I used to teach squats to almost all of my patients because it's functional, right? We have to get up out of chairs. And I can tell you, without a doubt, every week I blew out a pair of trousers. Okay, so big holes, had to go to Sam's Club. Oh, I preferred Sam's Club. I worked there, $82.98. I would go there over lunch and buy a new pair of trousers in order for me to show the next set of patients how to get up and down from a chair. Same concept, shoulders stay over the middle of your feet so you have your weight over your base of support. Stand straight up. Finally, we're going to cover powerlifter versus athletic squat. The movement is fairly similar. You still bend at your hip, bend at your knee. The difference is which one breaks first and how does the movement look? What's your body shape, right? And so with the powerlifter squat, we cue butt through the wall, bend the knee, and you're in this shape, right? My knee is maybe not over my toes, but my shins aren't completely vertical in this position. In this athletic squat, we don't teach this butt back first. We teach plant your butt between your feet. And you'll see my knees come a lot more forward in this position. There is nothing wrong with your knees going forward when you squat, okay? Old wives' tale, okay? We want to get rid of that myth and just bust it right now. There's a research study from 1960s, I believe. It was done on a skeleton model, and the skeleton model showed that it placed a ton of stress on your knee when you let your knees come forward. And it does on a skeleton. Luckily for you, you have muscles. And the muscles actually change the way that the stress is placed on the knees and hip. So your hamstring will start to unload that knee a little bit when you go into that deeper squat with your knees coming forward. Some people cannot squat without their knees coming forward because they have a different leg length compared to a torso length. All of this gets computed in a PT's head, a good PT's head, in order to teach how to squat and what's an appropriate squat for a patient. The only total rules that I have for squatting and shape shifting, is when you squat, your heels should be on the floor. You should not be in this position. I used to be a catcher, right? And so like this used to be my position all day long. So your heels should be on the floor and you come up. The other thing is no goalie, right? So live well, move better, live better. Thanks for watching.